Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Palantir. It is time for another update, and on this chart we have been tracking a very nice structure. We have an impulse information, we have an initial wave 1 up complete, we have a wave 2 down, and we are looking into the larger wave 3 to the upside to be forming. Within this wave 3 we might be looking at considerable extensions still to be formed within this area, because we might even have a double 1-2-1-2 setup here, and the third wave that would have formed at top most recently, and we would be looking for a follow-up wave 4 correction into our area of support. This has really always been the expectation ever since we actually were pushing into this next wave to the upside. We had a large area of support for a wave 4 correction for whenever we wouldn't have held internal levels of support for a more substantial wave 3 top to be in place, yeah? Now, it is a bit debatable whether this would be still part of the larger wave 3 or if the larger wave 3 had topped, but fortunately, the area of support would be extremely similar, so it really doesn't affect our broader expectations for continuation to higher prices, whether it is one count or the other. Within both structures, we will be looking for an extremely similar area of support. We would be looking for basically a $1 difference between one scenario and the other. So nothing that really affects us. Yeah, we could allow the $65 level to be reached before breaking the 50% retracement, and while we would still be looking with the same high probabilities for continuation to higher prices. But as a whole, I'm watching this area of support, this accumulation area, to start at the $120 level. It goes all the way down to the $65 level, and as long as we hold the 50% retracement, we can still be looking for continuation with high probabilities. This is an interesting trade setup in my opinion. The potential is still there. It seems quite promising, and we seem to be heading towards that area of support finally. Now, a couple of videos ago, as I was saying, we were still tracking continuation to higher prices internally within the structure, but in the previous video, we had already broken the relevant levels of support, and we have started considering this idea of a potential ABC structure, ABC, to unfold into the levels of support. Within this pattern, we do not absolutely need to track it as an ABC structure. It is a wave 4 within an impulse. It could very easily work as a WXY correction, or even potentially as a triangle. Yeah, we only have an initial 3-wave move to the downside within this area, which is not suggesting that we need to consider this to be a zigzag correction, meaning we do not need to form a wave C within this structure. Now, before we move into the internal count, the internal expectations, I wanted to briefly mention our channel newsletter, where you get access to our monthly top picks, and the link for signups is in the description. It is completely free, but if you do enjoy the content and you want to support the channel, you can check out the channel memberships. The link for that is in the description as well, or you can click the join button and you get access to a couple of cool perks, including exclusive additional content. Now, if you want the entire context for the newsletter and the channel membership, you can check out the channel update video. It's on the homepage, or you should actually get it even if you click the join button. You should see the channel update video there as well. Now, back to the chart. Here we have been looking for a wave C to unfold. We have been kind of by default tracking it as a potential ABC structure. The wave C might have even been able to form within an impulse, and that's exactly what we have been tracking in the previous video. Yeah, we were considering here a potential series of 1-2 setups, where this would be a third wave down. We were tracking a potential wave 4 correction and an extension in a fifth wave, and we would have needed to extend a little bit lower for this expectation to work out properly, because we would have needed a 4-5 pattern for each 1-2 setup we had. But for this to have been a possibility, to have been a valid wave 4 correction and interpretation, we would have needed to be held back by the 50% retracement at the $158 level. I wasn't able to consider something more bullish to be going on unless we broke the 78.6% retracement, the $177.4 level, but at the same time an impulse wasn't really working out within our expectations. And even if I wanted to still also look at this as a 1-2 setup instead of a wave 3, and look for this as a wave 3, technically it could have worked out. We would have even reached the ideal target for the wave 3, the 138.2% extension of the wave 1. But in the retracement in this supposed follow-up in a wave 4, even though we did get held back by the area of resistance, the 50% retracement here, we overlapped with the wave 1 territory, meaning this cannot be a valid impulse. So right now we need to consider some other interpretations, yeah? And honestly, other than overlapping with the wave 1, which is something a wave 4 cannot do within an impulse, this would have been perfect. Ideal target for the wave 3 reached. Wave 4 retracement held by the area of resistance, but yeah, it just doesn't work now. So, my other expectations include a couple of scenarios actually. So right now, I am still looking for a potential wave C to unfold within this area, but it would now have to be within the idea of an ending diagonal instead, meaning that within each of these subwaves, each of the wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I would only expect to build an ABC structure. So here we have within a wave 1 an ABC, and we could be looking at an ABC structure to unfold within a wave 3. It would be kind of difficult to track really any other count for this wave 3 at the moment. We might be seeing some developments that would change our expectations. But within this idea for a wave C to unfold in white within an ending diagonal, I kind of have to consider that we would be now within a wave C and this could be a 1-2 setup. It's definitely not the only possible interpretation, but this is the one I find most probable at the moment. And it would imply that we would still be looking for considerable additional downside, as this would need to be treated as a 1-2 setup and to have a third wave, fourth wave, and a fifth wave to unfold before we would even consider this wave 3 complete. Now, this would likely take us much deeper into the area of support than the first level, and I cannot rule out such an expectation, such a scenario. And in this case, I would still be considering the possibility of a wave 2 reset, even though we did have an overshoot, we did push a little bit lower, but there is a very good chance we would already be in the wave 3 to the downside and we would be tracking it even as an impulse. Now, the last level of resistance for this expectation is the $156.5 level, but I would be focused more on the internal levels of resistance here at the $141 level instead, yeah? The 78.6% retracement. And I will be tracking this in white because this is a valid level of the resistance within both my expectations, both my interpretations. Now, this is for the interpretation that a wave C would be unfolding within this area. I might even hide this just to not create confusion. And within the expectation of a potential WXY pattern, well, I would only need to build an ABC structure within a wave Y, in which case I could be looking for a bottom much sooner. Yeah, I might actually find a bottom within the next low into the first level of support instead. And in such a scenario, I would consider this wave C to already be towards the later stages to have potentially something like a 1, 2, third, fourth, and the fifth to form within this area. This would still unfold as an ending diagonal itself. I would still be looking for a similar structure to occur internally within this wave C in green. But in this expectation, I wouldn't even have a different area of resistance that I would be tracking for continuation in this fifth wave to the downside, because I would expect only an ABC pattern to unfold within this wave 5. Remember, we are tracking an ending diagonal within this wave C in green, and in such a case, I would still be looking at the $141.5 as the level that would shift the probabilities in favor of something potentially more bullish. And in the case of the green interpretation, we would also have a similar larger area of resistance to be tracking that would allow an extension all the way up to the $153.8 level. Now, I won't be leaving both of these on the chart because it is very much within the yellow area of resistance, and it overlaps with the white area of resistance we have here internally. And it is difficult to identify exactly which type of pattern is unfolding within this area. At the moment, we do see some divergences, but nothing that would prevent me from looking for a potential extension in a wave 3 to the downside to still occur internally. Now, if we want, we can even look here for an ideal target for this wave to the downside. It would be the 100% extension of the initial wave to the downside, So yeah, we'll be looking at the $141.5 level that has already been exceeded. So the next level we are watching is the $124 level at the 138.2% extension, and then the $114.5 level. But I would also like to remind you, within this push to the downside, we would be also watching the $120 level for structural support around this area. It has a good chance of slowing down the momentum that has been actually even increasing until the latest developments to the downside, the latest move here. Yeah, we even had additional structural support here that helped create a small relief rally within this area, and then we extended to even lower prices. At the moment, I would still strongly expect to at least get to the area of support, but I wouldn't require this yellow structure to unfold and create this larger movement to the downside within this internal impulse, basically in this wave C. And I consider there is actually a very good chance we will only be unfolding within this fifth wave in green to complete the internal pattern. We would have here just an A, B, C movement to unfold and complete the structure. If we want to look at the internal movement, the internal structure as well within this area, nothing I would consider too special. The momentum has been increasing to the downside within this latest movement, but at the same time we have had a more substantial retracement to the upside, pushing directly into the first level of resistance. So far I see a 5-wave pattern to the downside. I wouldn't require any additional lows, although I wouldn't be surprised if we form a more clear A, B, C structure within this area before we actually start a larger correction internally. But for now, I'm looking for the $141.5 level to be the signal that something more bullish may be going on, although I cannot outrule the possibility of just a reset until we get the $156.5 level broken. And I am looking for the accumulation area to start here at the $120 level to start. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.